We live in an age that's ruled and controlled by electricity. In the modern era, where would we be if we didn't have electricity? Everything runs by electricity practically. We have our ovens and our refrigerators, and now we're getting cars. And now that we've entered into the digital era, we have tablets and computers and cell phones and every other imaginable gadget that runs on electricity. And the most important part of those gadgets is the battery. And the battery only holds so much charge. And when that charge runs out, none of your devices are going to work. They're totally useless. And you know, our lives need a source of energy just like the tablet does or your computer does or anything else. It needs energy. And we get that energy from a source that's far more important than electricity, far more powerful than any electricity can be. Because in our spiritual life, what we need is the source of power that runs it. And that's God. Now, where do we find God in our life to power all that energy that we need to run our life? We find Him in our daily events. We find Him in the very moment that we live. We find Him everywhere. But if you're not plugged into that source of energy, you're never going to experience a thing. And so, if our spiritual lives are to be active and illuminative, and they've got to be energetic, then we have to be plugged into that source of energy. And our batteries do go down. Well, we work busy days. We have a helter-skelter life. And our energies are spent in all different directions. But if we don't take time out to recharge our spiritual batteries that control our life, then our life is going to be as useless as the laptop without any energy. It will go nowhere or do anything. So how do you get connected to the source of life? Well, you do the thing that Jesus told us to do, to go to the Father, to say, "Our Father who in heaven, hallowed be your name," and know that He is our loving Father, and that He loves us more than we could ever dream of. He is the source of our life, of every single thing that surrounds us, that's everywhere in our life. It's all a gift of His divine creation. We would have nothing if it were not for this. And if we don't take time, at least a little bit, every day, to get away, to recharge our spiritual batteries, then our spiritual life is going to be pretty dead. We know what it's like when we lose power. Everybody goes bananas. They don't know how to live and survive because we're so dependent on that source. And isn't that the way it should be in our spiritual life? That we are totally dependent on the God who loves us. And if we don't stay plugged in, we're not going to be able to live or survive. And it's a very simple thing to do. He makes it so simple for us to stay connected. He's there at every moment of our life. He's there to let us know that He's here. He's there to help us. And He wants to hold us in the palm of His hand and love us. And what do? We use up all the energy doing everything under the sun. And finally, the energy runs out. And then we're stuck. But God is there. And we have to turn to Him. And not always just asking Him in petition, the big sugar daddy in the sky, always looking for something to win the lottery or whatever it is we're looking for, but to just be for Him because we're His creation. We're His creation. He called us out of love. And that's all He asks for us in return. He just asks us to return to Him the love that He gives to us. That's what love is. Love is other. And that's what God is. God is other. And He's asking us to give some time out of our busy day to become other for Him. And it's a very simple thing to do. It just demands discipline, however. It demands that we take time, sometime in our day, whether it be 5, 10, 15 minutes that you can afford, and just sit and be quiet and go into prayer. And what is prayer? Prayer is nothing but a simple conversation with the God that loves you. Tell him everything that's on your mind. He knows it, but he wants to hear it from you. Talk to him like a father and listen to what he has to say to you. And he will speak to you. But will you be there to listen to him? So if your life is to be of any importance, and your spiritual life is to be live and energized, then what you need to do is be recharged. And that recharging process comes from prayer. That recharging process comes from being alone, quiet with the Lord, listening to what he has to say to you. So, charge your batteries every single day to know that you're going to be top-notch and you're not going to run low. It's always possible to stay in touch with God. It's up to you whether you want to plug in.